I wanted to study abroad because I had never been to Europe. I had never really been out of the US. And I thought it would be a really awesome opportunity to get out of my comfort zone.
I had visited Paris 2 times before, and I just love the city and how there's so much to do and so much to see, and the culture, the food, the way people dress. To be there for 5 months has really given me a better idea of what it's like to live here rather than just visiting. The hardest adjustment that I've had to make since studying abroad, since being in Paris, has been the language. I've been learning more French just from being surrounded by it and for my classes, so that's definitely helped.
Being able to get around and to do things and to experience things, but be in a completely different culture. That's been a really big adjustment.
And the food here is very different than the US. The bread, the baguettes are fantastic at boulangeries, and it's really interesting. They pride themselves a lot on their food, and they take it very seriously, and they really put their heart into what they're making. One of my favorite things has been there's this bakery right near my house, and at the beginning I went in and people weren't the friendliest to me, and I was trying to ask for things and it did not go well, but then as I went back more and more times, eventually they started to recognize me and started to smile at me. It shows you can make a connection with the people around you, don't necessarily have to speak the same language.
So I'd say like getting around Paris has been, sometimes it can be a challenge because it's a lot of work if you have to take the metro and like several different lines. But it's really rewarding to be like, oh, I get the metro system.
I've met some really cool people, 2 in particular, people on my study abroad program, and it's interesting because we all come from different parts of the US, and there's no way we would have ever known each other if we hadn't gone on this trip. And it's interesting to see because we're all very different people, but we had this one thing in common, that we really wanted to study abroad and we wanted to do it in Paris. Also my host mother too, because she doesn't speak any English, so it's been interesting communicating with her, and I'm definitely going to remember her when I go back because she's funny, and even though I don't always understand her jokes, I can kind of see how somebody lives in their day-to-day life.
There's so many memories and so many good things that happen here. I first came here and I did a lot of the really touristy things right away, and then I started to really feel like I was a part of the city by, walking to the metro and, stopping at the little stores and talking to people and experiencing what it's really like to live here, not just to travel and come here on vacation. It's just been really cool to have a better understanding of the world that I live in, not just the US. Totally opened my eyes to what traveling and seeing other cultures and, being submerged in something completely different, and how fun and exciting it is. I think I've just grown in my self-confidence and feeling like I could do anything and move anywhere and be okay and have a good experience.
Definitely my French has improved a lot, and I feel like I've become more open to new things, because when you're in a new city for the first time, you want to be able to discover as much of it as you can. Now that I've had to do harder things in trying to communicate, that just basic everyday things will be easier, and now I know a whole new culture, and I realize that the American way isn't always the best way. In the future, this experience will definitely benefit me in interacting with other people, and also just in general being more comfortable talking to people, because when you're here you have to learn how to talk, but in another language that you're not comfortable with, and at first it's really embarrassing. And at home in my French classes I was just so embarrassed to talk, but being here has made me realize that you can, if you try, you can get along, you can find your way around.
when else are you going to have almost 5 months to live in a foreign country? And doing a study abroad, I really feel like I live here. I really feel like I've embraced this experience and can do anything.
I think it's very important to get to see what there is outside of the place that you're used to, and just to see that there's other ways of doing things. When you open yourself up to the opportunity to study abroad, that you'll open yourself up to other opportunities, and when you get there, you'll be more likely to embrace the place and just making that decision, and to not let yourself be discouraged.
J'ai changé de pays, j'ai perdu mes amis pour gagner ta confiance. La liberté, tu as su désormais.